Hi there, this is Sue Schoning from the Soul Lighthouse. Welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are talking about the energy that April 2018 has in store for us. If you have just celebrated Easter, or if you're going to be celebrating Orthodox Easter over the next couple of days, I hope you've had time to rest, put your feet up, and catch a few moments of relaxation. Because let's face it, 2018 has just been incredibly busy. January exploded into being. By the time we hit February, we felt like we were on a runaway train. There was so much pressure, so much demand, and so little time to get it all done. And then we went into March, and it was pedal to the metal last month. There was so many people that I've spoken to who said that it's been crazy, crazy busy. And you know that when you've finished your inbox, guess what? There's more. There's always more work that is waiting for your attention. I'm not the only one, I'm sure, who's at this point wanting to say to the universe, can we just slow it down a little bit? Please, can we just catch our breath? If we're honest with ourselves, time has been hectic even before this year started. You know, round about October, November, December, we could feel that energy was beginning to speed up. And already before we hit this year, we were already on that conveyor belt running against time. So here's the bad news that we all need to be aware of. It's only going to get busier as the year goes by. It's just going to accelerate, and it's going to get more demanding and even more busy as the year goes by, which is why it is so critical that whenever we get a moment to breathe, put our feet up and do nothing, that we grab it with both hands. Now, I wish I could turn around and say to you, April is going to give us such a month where we can put our feet up and we can slow down and we can breathe. The good news is there will be moments where we can do that during this month. The bad news is that they will only be moments. And let me explain to you what I mean. 2018, as we know, is that extreme 11 energy, very mercurial, very fast moving, very fast paced. And we add it to the energy of April, which resonates with a 4. And what we get is we get a 15-6 energy. Now, on the surface, a 15-6 energy is beautifully nurturing and loving and caring. And if you just look at that picture that's on the screen right now, wouldn't we all love half an hour where we could go and lie on the grass and just breathe for a moment without having the pressure of a huge, massive to-do list? This 15-6 energy is very, very healing. It's responsible. It asks us to be in a space where we are harmonious, where we're balanced. It brings the energy back home so that we can come back to our core and we can plan our next section of growth. But what we need to remember, healing and as beautiful and as gentle and as nurturing as a 15-6 energy is, number one, we're in this extreme energy of 2018, which is moving at one hell of a lick. It's really hurtling along at breakneck speed. Then we've got Jupiter retrograde that's happening at the moment, and that is until July 10. And that is saying to us, get your house in order. Look at your environment. Look at what you've got around you, situations, people. Look at your body. What is toxic? What do you need to get rid of? What do you need to realign? What works? What no longer works? That's the message that Jupiter retrograde has for us this time. And then if that's not enough, we've got Mercury retrograde that's happening, which is also very fast-paced, very mercurial, changes its mind all the time, and just makes us incredibly prone to all sorts of miscommunications and misunderstandings. So you can see that at the core, we've got this beautiful 15-6 energy, which is all about healing. It's all about gentleness. It's all about self-nurture and nurturing those around you. But we've got these retrogrades happening, and we've got this blanket of chaos that comes with 2018. And it looks a little bit like this, where we have this up and down, up and down. And if you look at that graphic that's on the screen now, it's as sharp as that, where 1 minute we are moving so fast that we fear that we're actually going to hurtle into a brick wall. And the next minute we are flat out, exhausted, and we're actually pulling away and hiding away from the world because we're just so exhausted. And then I turn around to you and I say, come on, guys, we need to have some balanced downtime. And if your life is anything like mine, you're probably saying, how? How am I supposed to have a balanced downtime when there is just so much busyness, so many demands, so many deadlines? My schedule looks absolutely crazy from morning, noon till night. And then when I've finished everything that's in my inbox, I get into my car or I go into my other life and I've just got all these other demands and all these other pressures from my families or from my relationships or whatever. So when I turn around and I say, come on, let's take some time and smell the coffee, you're probably turning around and saying, I have no time to even drink the coffee, never mind smell it. This is what we are dealing with at this moment in time. And it gives us something a little bit like this. Imagine that figure 8 that's on the screen almost as a dance. And the top loop of that figure 8 is one energy and the bottom loop is an opposing energy. And so we start off, because there's so much pressure in 2018, feeling actually quite overwhelmed, if you think about it. And then because we are exhausted or we're tired, we feel guilty about all the stuff that we're not getting through, all the stuff that we're not managing to finish or to complete or even start. We find ourselves running so fast that there are times that we drop the ball. If you imagine if you're running and you're trying to juggle all the time, but you're running at breakneck speed, it stands to reason we're going to drop some balls somewhere along the line, which makes us stressed and anxious and so very prone to panic. And you know, if we spend too much time in panic and too much time in anxiety, we can hurtle headlong into despair and despondency. And if we're not careful, downright depression, which leaves us feeling exposed and vulnerable, which in turn leaves us feeling incredibly paralyzed. And this is a dance that happens when we have got so much to do and so little time to get it done. And we end up in a space like this where we're carrying such a heavy load that sooner or later we're actually just going to say, I can't. And in German they say it so beautifully, ich kann nicht mehr, I can't anymore. We're either full on or we're flat out. Keep in mind this month that it is most definitely a dance between paralysis on the one side and extreme vulnerability on the other, as this pace is so very demanding. And that means that we might be in a space where we get caught between fear and anxiety. And if you've ever been in that space, you know damn well that it just keeps us feeling completely stuck and too tired to move versus hurtling out of control. April says to you, be careful that we don't burn out. Yeah, I know we're barely 4 months into the year and already we're facing burnout because of the fast pace. We cannot do everything all the time on time. And April is asking us to prioritize what needs to be done. Because if we keep up that space too long, we end up feeling incredibly fragile and very, very weak. Or we get weepy and overwhelmed because it's just too much and that overwhelm has to come out somewhere. Or we want to just hide away because I just can't keep up this pace. And so we look for stimulants to keep our energy up, and whether it's caffeine, which is mine of choice, or whether we go into all sorts of other stimulants just to give ourselves some kind of pep, some kind of energy boost. And we know that we should be eating healthy at a time like this, but when life is so hectic, I found myself doing exactly this. It's much easier to grab a Coke and a pizza than it is to think about a healthy meal. And we are so tired that all we want to do is get into bed and probably facing insomnia. If this sounds like a day in your life, I have to tell you it's very appropriate for where we are at the moment. There's nothing wrong with you. This is the energy that we've got in around us at the moment, and we need to build our resilience to it. So, how do we start to build resilience? Well, we have to listen to the message that April is trying to get us to hear, which is come back home. Come back home. Come back to your most important priorities. And where do we do that? We come into our most intimate space. And our most intimate space for most of us is home. After a really long day where you've done nothing but work and meeting after meeting after meeting, and you fought the traffic, and it's just been hectic from beginning to end. That feeling when you come home and you can feel your whole energy going, oh, and you can throw the keys onto the table and you can feel yourself dropping the suitcase or the briefcase, and you're taking off your tie and your high heels as you're walking through the door. Come home to that space where you are most intimate, where you can be vulnerable, where you can be in a space where it doesn't matter whether you are exposed or not, because this is your most safest space. April says, bring your energy home. And have a look at the relationship that you have with yourself and the people that you live with. In a Mercury retrograde, communication often goes out the window. Misunderstandings are rife, and we end up walking around as if we're on eggshells, and we stop connecting. And April is saying to us, connect, reach out, be first to reach out, hold hands, touch, hug, kiss. Be in a space where we're connecting with the people that we live with. Allow yourself to slow your energy down enough so that you can look past those surface misunderstandings and tensions and miscommunications. It's saying to you, plan moments of connection with your tribe, because if we don't plan them, they ain't gonna happen. It's as simple as that. In a world as crazy as we are living in, where the energy is just accelerating, we can't say, let's do coffee sometime. We actually need to plan it. We can't say, let's go and have a game of golf sometime. We actually have to take it and put it in the diary and plan for it, because you know as well as I do, it ain't going to happen otherwise. Plan for your days off as vigilantly as you plan for the meetings with your boss. Plan for a date night with your significant other as vigilantly as you plan to go and do the shopping or meet with the school teachers. April says, come back first to connection, come back first home, and then and only then look at the responsibilities that we have. We all have responsibilities. We all have bills that we have to pay. We all have things that we have to get done. But it's saying to us, please look at your work-life balance. Now, I'm guilty of this. I have an addiction to busyness, and I think a lot of us do, where I really, really struggle to put in a work-life balance. April's saying to us, come on, let's start really getting serious. We cannot nurture ourselves if we're working 24/7, 365. We just cannot do it. We cannot nurture our relationships if we are always in a space where we're online or we're on our tablets or we're on our phones, because we've got to sort out this email, we've got to sort out this client, we've got to sort out this work. It says the responsibilities, yes, of course, we've got to pay the bills, but your primary responsibility is to you. And it's to this core that we have our connections, our families, our loved ones. Look at the work-life balance. Now, the second aspect of April is going to be all about growth and growing. And it is another video that I actually want to get into and spend some time about, because there is this energy that's saying to us, look at what it is that we're growing, look at it, what it is that we're planting, look at what it is that we actually want to harvest. And so I want to devote another video to this. In the meantime, come back to the center, come back to your core. It's a message you're going to hear again and again and again as we go through 2018. Come back to your core and remember the first message that April has for us, which is work-life balance. Come back home, come back to where we are able to be intimate with ourselves. Come back to the relationship we have with ourselves, nurture, nourish, because only then can we build up this resilience so that we are not doing the dance of paralysis versus vulnerability. We're doing a dance of action. I hope you found this useful, this fast flash forecast through April 2018. Try to get it through as quick as I can, but please do look out for our next installment where we're going to be talking about growth and growing. If you want more information, if you would like to book your own soul discovery session where you find out what this energy does to you specifically, please get hold of me. Email is always the best way. But for now, thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful, empowered April, and don't forget, grab those moments of relaxation with both hands. Stand in the sun whenever you can, breathe it in, and take a bit of time to smell the coffee. Lots of love. Bye for now.